Hello, wonderful people of the great World Wide Web. Welcome back to another episode of my Moroccan adventure. In this one, I finally get a taste of the real Moroccan heat and my first ride into the desert. After a solid night's sleep at a campsite in Ouarzazate, I took a quick spin around town, grabbed a good breakfast and then pointed my bike towards Zagora. I didn't stick around Ouarzazate for long. I was way too excited to finally get my first glimpse of the desert sands. Honestly, I was heading there like a kid running after the ice cream truck. My plan was to spend a couple of nights at a camp near Zagora that came highly recommended, and I was curious to see if it really lived up the hype. As I rolled out of Ouarzazate and onto the open road, I spotted a guy standing by his car, waving at me like I was some kind of desert taxi. Of course, I pulled over to see if I could help. His English wasn't great, but I gathered that the car had overheated or maybe it was low on oil. Either way, motorcycle oil wasn't going to save a car engine, so I couldn't do much. Then he asked me something unexpected. Could I deliver a message to his family? I offered him my phone to call, but he explained that they are traditional and they don't even own one. Okay. So he scribbled a note in Arabic, gave me some vague directions, and I had no clue what he was saying. To make things easier, I handed him my phone and he dropped a pin on the map. That worked. I shared a bottle of water with him, tucked the mysterious note into my pocket, and suddenly my ride had a new purpose. I was now on a mission: get to Eggs and deliver the message. Back on the road, I headed towards Zagora. No rush, it's only 155 kilometers from Ouarzazate, so I just enjoyed the ride. And what a ride it was! The anti-atlas stretched out around me like some giant movie set, raw, vast and absolutely breathtaking. The night before, I rolled in under darkness. I hadn't seen a thing, but now Morocco unveiled itself in full daylight, and it felt like stepping into a whole new world. For a while, I almost forgot I was on a delivery run. I was basically the slowest courier service in Morocco. When I finally rolled into Eggs, Google Maps led me deep into the suburbs. I followed it straight to the pin he dropped, pulled up at the exact address and showed the note. The folks there just stared at me like I landed from Mars. Luckily, a young girl who spoke English cleared things up. They had no idea who this guy was. Perfect, wrong address. Just what you need when you're Morocco's slowest, most confused delivery service. But I wasn't giving up. The poor guy was stuck back in the heat, so I retraced his directions from memory. Something about being on the main road, close to a roundabout and a bank. Eventually, I found the right place, a Berber maison. And wow, was I welcomed. They treated me like a king, sat me down, poured tea and showered me with gratitude for helping a stranger. We chatted about life in the desert, and then, little by little, the conversation shifted. Suddenly, I was sitting in front of a table full of jewelry, where carpets magically appeared on the floor like a magic show. In the end, I walked away with a turban and a necklace. And yes, being from Balkans, I battered a proper price. Only later, back home, I found out from another traveler that he'd gone through the exact same mission. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't see this as a scam at all. Nobody pressured me into buying anything. To me, it just felt like a creative way to welcome travelers into their shop. And honestly, I didn't mind one bit. I had a great time chatting with my Berber host, enjoyed some excellent tea, and I was already planning to buy a turban anyway. The necklace was just a nice little bonus. Together, they always remind me of my very first big adventure, my first visit to Morocco, and that's priceless. Not bad for the slowest, most roundabout delivery job I'll ever do. After that little delivery side quest, I said goodbye to my Berber hosts and hit the roads towards Zagora. And wow, the heat! Let's just say it was way above my comfort zone. I took it slow and steady and eventually rolled into Zagora, where I found the camp a fellow biker had recommended. It was perfect, tucked away in a quiet spot, shaded by palm trees, run by a fantastic host, and just 5 minutes from the main street. Oh, and it had a pool. Trust me, after that ride, I jumped in like it was an oasis in the desert. Only later did it hit me. Wait a second, this isn't just poetic flair. The camp is literally in an oasis. So there I was, living every cliché travel blogger dream, minus the drone shots and inspirational quotes. Just me, the pool, and the proud feeling of being the most predictable tourist in Morocco. The next day, Henrik, my buddy from the ferry, we'd already crossed paths at few camps, stayed in touch and even made a deal to meet up here, showed up. We ended up staying 2 days, doing basically nothing except chilling in the pool, grabbing food and making the glorious discovery that the camp sold beer. That fridge instantly became our new best friend. Shade, a pool, cold drinks, a good company. Honestly, that's desert luxury right there. After a few days of rest in that awesome camp, I set off toward Merzouga, ready to finally experience the Sahara the way I always imagined it. Endless dunes, desert as far as the eye can see, and yes, sand, lots of sand. My original plan was to ride off-road the whole way, but the heat had other ideas. With temperatures pushing 45-48 degrees Celsius, I gave it a shot, but quickly realized I was basically fighting for air. Even sticking to paved roads at a steady cruise felt like riding in a giant hairdryer. Still, I didn't mind, because the scenery was stunning, and for the very first time I spotted camels roaming free in the wild. That alone made the ride unforgettable. I was making my way toward Merzouga, riding to desert landscapes and small dusty towns, soaking up every kilometer, and despite the heat, it was an awesome ride. Somewhere along the way, I crossed paths with another herd of free-roaming camels. This time, I stopped just to watch them for a while. I don't know what it is about camels. I just really like them. Okay, I love all animals. But camels have this special kind of charm. They move slowly, calmly, like they are on their own peaceful timeline. Nothing seems to bother them. With the desert stretching out behind them, they had this strangely calming effect on me. Here are a few fun facts about camels. The word camel actually comes from the Arabic word jamal, which means beautiful, and honestly, they kind of are, in their own goofy, majestic way. In Arabic, there are over 160 different words for camels, one for every mood, behavior, or stage of life. There's a word for camel that likes to wander off, another for how often it drinks water, every day, every 2 days, 3 days, and even specific words for female camels depending on how far along they are in pregnancy. It's like the ultimate desert dictionary. And here's something most people get wrong. Camels don't store water in their humps. Their humps are full of fat, which helps regulate body temperature and keeps them alive up to 6 months without food. The real magic happens in their blood. The red blood cells are oval-shaped and can expand when they drink, letting them chug up to 150 liters of water in one go without bursting a vessel. Meanwhile, here I am. I nearly passed out after half a bottle. Their bodies are perfectly designed for desert life. They can close their nostrils during sandstorms. Their eyes have 3 eyelids and 2 rows of eyelashes, basically built-in sand goggles, and their feet spread out wide like desert snowshoes. Oh, and one more thing. Camels and llamas are actually cousins. And just like llamas, camels have, let's call it a special defense mechanism. They spit when they're annoyed. So yeah, maybe don't get too close if a camel gives you that look. And since they can remember faces and voices for years, if you ever annoy the camel, don't think it forgot. It might still be waiting for its chance. After soaking in the view of free-roaming camels and the vast desert, I continued my ride and finally hit the unpaved track leading toward Gara Medouar, also known as, I hope I will pronounce it right, Jebel Medouar. The second destination scribbled on my plan envelope. It's roughly 10 kilometers before Risani, with about 3 to 4 kilometers of flat desert road peeling off the main highway. Gara Medouar is a wild site, a massive horseshoe-shaped limestone formation rising about 50 meters above the desert floor and covering around 50 hectares. Natural erosion carved it into a giant amphitheater that once served as shelter from sandstorms for passing caravans. Back in the 11th or 12th century, during the Almoravid rule, People fortified it, building a huge wall across its only opening on the southern side, along with dam-like structures to collect rainwater and traces of old dwellings scattered across the plateau. Local lore gives the place a darker edge. Some say it once held enslaved Africans captured by Portuguese slavers, hence the nickname the Portuguese prison. But when I spoke with few locals, they claimed it was actually the other way around, that it was used to hold Portuguese prisoners during old conflicts centuries ago. Either way, this place has history carved deep into its stones, and you can feel it. From the top, you can see nearly 50 kilometers in every direction. Nomadic legends call it the Eye of a Desert, a place where spirits watch over caravans. Travelers believe that if you camp within its circle, you'll be safe from jinn and sandstorms, like having an ancient desert insurance. It's no surprise filmmakers couldn't resist. The Mummy, James Bond Spectre, and plenty of others were shot here. The place already looks like a movie set. It just needed someone to yell, "Action!" I rode my bike to the top, parked it, and just stood there, jaw dropped. Imagining caravans hiding from the wind, soldiers patrolling the walls, water once pooling behind those ancient dams. Despite the brutal heat, I stayed for more than an hour, feeling small in the best possible way. The silence, the stone, the wind. It's like history whispering straight to the cliffs. Eventually, I rode back down to the entrance where two trees somehow stood defying the desert. I have no idea how they managed to survive out there, but at that moment, one of them became a personal oasis. I parked in its shade, looked up and said, "Damn, you're one tough survivor. Thanks for sticking around and for the shade." It reminded me of the Tuareg song by Tinariwen. The singer says, "I have never seen enough trees to call it a forest." Out there, that line makes perfect sense. When you ride for hours through heat and dust, one tree feels like a gift from the universe. After a pit stop under that hero of a tree in Gara Medouar, I rolled back onto a paved road toward Risani and then onto Merzouga. It turned into one of those rides that stick with you, my first real look at the golden Sahara sands, and the level of heat I won't forget anytime soon. Right before reaching Merzouga, I stopped at a small restaurant to grab a bite and decided to take a break from tagines and Moroccan specialties, so I went for a hamburger. And honestly, it was surprisingly good. While eating, I opened Booking.com to find a place to stay and came across a desert camp. I booked it thinking, yeah, right, probably just a fancy name. It can't be actually in the desert, right? The map said the camp was just 8 kilometers off the main road, right in the Sahara desert. Google Maps even showed the road leading straight to it. Perfect, I thought. Close enough to the road, right on the edge of the desert. Yeah, wrong. To my surprise, that road slowly disappeared into deep sand. I knew my off-road skills weren't exactly desert deep sand pro level, but after circling around and finding no other way, I decided to give it a shot. Unfortunately, my GoPro didn't share my enthusiasm. It overheated and shut down. Maybe it just didn't want to witness what followed. Let's just say it wasn't my finest moment on two wheels. The first few kilometers actually went pretty well, until they didn't. I dropped the bike, ate a bit of sand, for the full Sahara experience of course, and that's when the real fun began. I overheated, and my bike overheated even worse, and things went downhill fast. At one point, I put it in gear, twisted the throttle, and nothing. The rear wheel just refused to move. The oil had gotten so hot it lost its ability to create friction between the clutch plates, basically turning my clutch into a very pricey hand grip exerciser. I knew forcing it would only make things worse. Fried clutch plates weren't exactly on my wish list, so I stopped. Decided to wait for help or cooler morning temperatures. I wasn't in danger, just stressed out, sitting there in the sand thinking, did I just kill my clutch in Sahara? As we are almost at the end of this episode, I'll save the rest of the story for the next one and leave you with this little cliffhanger. Until next episode, ride safe and keep exploring.